Good morning. Well, here I am again. No shower, in my PJs, having my coffee, coming to you just as I am. I had a wonderful time in the Word with the Lord this morning. I've been talking about this that my friend Roberta and I are doing this Bible study uninvited. And right now, where I'm at, uh, in chapter, I think I'm in chapter, let me see, because I just finished it, uh, chapter 11. She really delves into rejection and not, and for us not to dwell on our rejections, things that we experience, if we didn't get invited to the party, if someone tells us no on a sale, or being a recruit or something like that, um, that we should look at that and see the opportunity that God is trying to reveal to us. So I made lots of notes. I mean, it was really, really good. So I just want to share with you the things that really spoke to me. And one of the first things that she says is Satan knows what consumes us and controls us. And that is so true that so many times, when we get a rejection, we can play it over and over and over in our minds to where it's consuming us and holding us back from doing what we really should be doing. And for us to think that one rejection is not a projection of future failures. And, we do a challenge in Cincy that is go or no. And it is the purpose of it is for us to not stop when we get a no from someone and just to keep on going. So we make a list of 100 people and we reach out to them and we ask them if they want to buy, host, or join. And obviously, a lot of them are going to say no, but out of 100, someone's going to say yes, and some of them are. So, that just if we were to just stop at that first no and think to ourselves that everyone else is going to say no, we wouldn't ask anyone else. So we have to really look at how that rejection, and I have to look at that one rejection doesn't mean that that person is going to say no forever or that everyone else is going to say no. And then there was something in there that made me think of my friend Annette. I love, love, love her. She and I have such a great connection, but we both love to shout out when the Lord is doing something incredible in our hearts. And this verse really just made me think of her. But it's Psalm 31:3. Glorify the Lord with me. Ooh, I'm getting chills already. Let us exalt his name together. And that is her and I, truly. We have the best relationship in shouting out and sharing with each other when something great God has done for us. Just so that we both have that experience of saying, woo, yes, I remember the time we went to Kentucky to see Jesse Duplantis. And we're driving home and she's driving. And I remember looking outside and I was like, woo, or something. I made some kind of sound or words or whatever. And she's like, what? I want to share in it too. What is it? And I just shared with her that I just realized, looking at the trees and the hills that were there, that God created every single one of those. And she was like, yes, woo, so remember that when you don't just seek out your friends to wallow in your rejection, but be sure that when there's great moments are there, that you have someone that you can glorify God with, that you can have there with you that can say, yes, yay, that can celebrate things with you. A few more points that she made was rejection doesn't label you. It enables you to adjust and move on. I got to remember that when someone says no, that doesn't mean that it's me that they're saying no to. I don't know what's going on in their life, or where they're at right now. So it doesn't mean that means they're saying no to me, that I'm not going to let that label me. I'm just going to adjust and move on. This could be an invitation to live in expectation of something else. So I'll look at it as, this may be a no here because it could get in the way of what's coming. So many things that could play out to be. And it's this I love. This I love, and I'm really trying to work on doing this. It's good to ask the what questions, but less helpful to ask why. Instead of saying, why isn't anybody buying from me today? Why isn't anyone hosting a party with me? I need to look at it and say, what can I learn from what they said? What can I learn from the reason they said no? Can I learn how to make my approach more desirable? Can I help? Is there something I can learn to do? What can I do? What should I have said differently? I need to look at not why is this happening, but what can I learn from? Not why am I struggling with this or whatever. I need to ask what. I'm going to move on. And write down the what's. That's really good for me. I like to write things down. I like to take little notes when God gives me something, or when I'm not sure of something. If you look at this, if you were to see this table right now, you would know I'm a writer downer. But I really am going to try to do that when I come across something that I need to know an answer to, I need to write it down. And then when I ask my friends to help figure them out, they may see things that I'm totally missing in this situation. They may be able to suggest something. So I'm going to try to start doing that. And I have a group of friends that I turn to when I need help. So I'm going to keep that point in check with me. Then don't hash, bash, or trash on the internet, which I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I was tempted last night because of a discussion that Mike and I was having, and something that's really, really working in me, that I have shared with a couple of my friends personally. I almost wanted to get back on Facebook just so I could post this 100 times, and I'm glad I didn't, because this morning God said, don't do it. That's not how people are going to receive it, and that's not something that you want to be known for. And that was something that I said to him last night, was I don't want to come back just to make that point, and I don't want that to be what people know me as. I do feel it is something very, very important that everyone should see. But for now, that's not the platform or how I should share it. I'll just continue to do it on a one-on-one basis. Next, she says, there's much more to you than the part that was rejected. And that just fills my heart with joy, knowing that it's just a little bit of what's going on in my life, that there's so much more to me than that. And Lisa's attempts to stay at home, being a floral designer, a wedding planner, and I'm going to assume a Pampered Chef consultant, because she said a kitchen tool demonstrator, and that's pretty much the only one I can think of. But she tells in her book how she failed at them, and they're hilarious, by the way. I mean, I love it. But she shares how she could have looked at those rejections and been stuck thinking, what am I, there's nothing for me to do. But instead, she realized that those failures were just God getting them out of her way to get her to become an author and a motivational speaker or whatever she is called. But I look at that and it made me think this morning of something my sister said to me once. What are you selling now? And at first I was upset about that, but then now that I look back, I'm like, she's right, but that's just been me trying to decide what is it that God has for me. I know that I'm very good at sales. That's just me. When I'm passionate about something, it's easy for me to sell. I'm excited about it, which people see, and they just buy it. It's not that I'm pressuring them or they're buying something that they really don't need. They just see it. I show them the value. They understand and they see the value in it too. So they fall in love with it and they get as excited about it as I do. And so therefore, that's why I have such great sales right now. I've done other sales jobs, and if I'm passionate about it, I'm very successful with it. But with Scentsy, this has been the longest one I have ever done. And I have continued to grow. And so I really feel that this is where God wants me to be, at least in this season. Who knows? You can always bring something else up, but I'm loving it. And so I'm allowing God to use this for my, I want to stay at home. I want to be at home. I want to be out and about with people, but after owning my own cleaning business for almost 5 years now, I really don't know that I could go back to work for somebody else, and especially not full time. That's not what I want. I almost interviewed for a job that I applied for at Panera Bread, and what excited me at first was the hours. It was 5 a.m. to 2, and I was like, oh yeah, I love getting up in the morning. But then, then the lady called me and was ready to interview me and excited. And I was excited about it. But then I started thinking, man, 5 o'clock in the morning, I get up at 4:30 in the morning, same time Mike's alarm goes off. And I get up, and while he's waking up, I come into the kitchen, get my coffee, and I start making his breakfast and packing his lunch. And then we have a little bit of time together. We don't talk much because he's not a morning person, and I have learned to control my excitement for the day a little bit. It comes out sometimes, like this morning. As right before he left, I said, "It's Friday." I'll know it's Wednesday, but it's the day before Thanksgiving, but to us, it's Friday because we don't have to go to work tomorrow. And so I got a little excited, and he just smiled at me and said yes, but anyway, so I love that time with him, and I love this time. I spend about an hour every morning now in the Word of God and getting close to him and learning and growing. And man, I was like, I'm not ready to give that up. I love this. So I text the lady back the day of the interview when I realized I didn't want to give that up. And I also didn't want to work 9 hours one day. I'm not lazy. I just am used to working 4 hours tops, and sometimes in my cleanings, I work 5 or 6 in one day, but that's all I want to do. I want to be able to come home and have time to get ready for my husband to come home and get dinner and everything. So I don't want to be wore out. So anyway, I text the lady and politely declined the position. Okay, and then Lisa says, what one person sees as your liability, another might see as a wonderful asset. Not a whole lot I got out of that, but I wrote it down just because sometime, it may come up. But maybe it's my gift of gab that somebody can see as a liability, but someone else might say, hey, that's great in her. Another thing, God's eyes are on me. His face is not against me. Even if others appear to be against me, I must make sure in my reaction to them that I extend grace and honor God. that she made a comment about how she posted something about her vulnerability, and someone else judged her for it and did not see it as something that, as in her position, that she should show her vulnerability, that it shows as a weakness. But she realized that if she had not been mature in her vulnerability, that might have been a liability, but it is not. And it helped so many others. So many other people posted how that helped them. This is a short-term setback, not a permanent condition. So where I have to remember that, because I'm honestly worried about December and January coming up. I've done so great, and there's just such a short window left. I feel to get the sales before Christmas, because December 15th is this cutoff for Scentsy, and I feel like that once that December 15th hits, no one's going to order because they're not going to have it in time for Christmas. They're going to have all their money spent on Christmas. And then come January, they've spent everything on Christmas. What do they need? They've gotten stuff. So that's just my, there I go. I'm kind of thinking in the mentality of why I need to do what. So I need to get myself prepared for that, and build and either come up with something to offer, or hopefully since January's transition month, which will help. But hopefully Scentsy will do the 10% off that is so loved by and help us. So y'all pray for that. Pray that Scentsy change. They skipped it this last catalog, and it really was disappointing for myself and several of my customers. But anyway, moving on. I need to prepare for that. Don't let this heartbreak destroy you. Let this breaking actually be the making of you. Let God use it in good ways to make you stronger and take you further. I have to remember that some of my rejection that I feel is from my past, and certain situations that happened to me growing up. And being guarded that I am, and I already assume that I'm going to be rejected for something because of what happened in the past. And this Bible study is really helping me to get over that, to know that that heartbreak isn't going to destroy me and that I can grow from it. And love this. I starred this because Lisa talked about how when her and her husband got married, that her father-in-law had written them a poem and said it during the ceremony. And this sentence really stuck out with her. And I love it. It's so wonderful. Lord, give them enough hurts to keep them human and enough failures to keep their hands clenched tightly in yours. And as a newlywed, I have to remember and hold on to that, to know that our marriage isn't going to be perfect. But as things come along, I know that Mike and I we always call ourselves Team Mike and Tara, because no matter what has come upon us, or come in our life, any obstacle or situation, we tackle it together. And when one of us says, woe is me or woe is us, this is how we're going to get through this, what are we going to do? The other one is there is to cheer us on and go, hey, remember, we'll get through this. We'll do this together. And so I'm looking forward to growing with Mike and Team Mike and Tara, and have God there with us. And then this, I had to heart. I wrote it down and hearted it. Soak in his truths and let them seep into the deepest places of your heart, rubbed raw with uncertainty. And I'm just going to let that sit in with you as I read it to you one more time. Soak in his truths and let them seep into the deepest places of your heart, rubbed raw with uncertainty. Take these Take this scripture to heart and know that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. And I have something else that I'm working on that the Lord really opened up to me about, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I think I'll save it for another time. I feel like there was something in this for someone out there, and I hope that it helped. And I know it certainly helped me, and I am loving this Bible study. So I highly recommend it. And if anyone wants to jump on, I can always go back in my notes and we can talk about it together. So that's all I'm going to say for today. I have a lot to do, but I hope y'all have a beautiful, wonderful day, and that you ask what and not why.